Following on daily from the Palekelle International Cricket Stadium, Harmy, at 60 for 6, did you think England would go on to win by 12 runs?
No, I didn't. I thought it was... sometimes when you get a difficult pitch, you get a good game. Low-scoring games are always good games. They're exciting, challenging for the batter. It's always nice when you see every now and again you see a ball dominate the bat. And I thought England spinners bowled very, very well. Fair play. Yeah, Sam Curran was absolutely fantastic. He really was. Identifying what a score was, doing his part to get England, pushing England towards that score. I think at halfway you were probably still thinking England were a little bit short. They had to have a good power play. We're getting the first over is always going to do that. And they ran out actually quite comfortable winners by the end. No, brilliant performance, great series. And one, I think, bodes well for the World Cup.
We've seen over the course of this series, ODI and T20, England have won in different ways. They've won this T20 series, winning the toss batting, winning the toss bowling. Saw that in the ODI, different types of run chases. How much will this help this England side heading into a T20 World Cup? Because you never know, they might find themselves on a pitch like that during the Super 8s or something like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. The pitches in India and Sri Lanka, they'll only become challenging more tournament players on them. There's not as many grounds being used, so the recycling surfaces, so they are going to get slower, they are going to get lower, they are going to get more difficult to bat on as they go through the tournament. So I think you're right, they have won in many different ways, and they've had match winners in many different ways. Dawson and Rashid have done very, very well. I still think the balance of the side is off, and I think Luke Wood proved in them first 2 overs that he bowled that he would give them a new ball option or a power play option along with Jofra. And I think England might have to make a difficult call in one of their sort of bowling all-rounders being left out. Bethel's got wickets, Curran's got runs and wickets in this series, and I think the vulnerable one potentially of that is possibly Jamie Overton.
What do you do with Ben Duckett? Because he scored 8 single-figure scores since September, 150 in those 20 innings, as I say, since that Test series, since the hundreds. You've said previously he can't play himself back into form in indoor nets in Nottinghamshire, but this is a guy who's been away from home since October. He's got a young family. How do you find that balance between getting him back in form and also looking after Ben Duckett, the person?
I think the most important thing is looking after the person. If the person's fine, he sticks with the group and he goes through to the World Cup, and then he goes on to the IPL, and all of a sudden you hope that when he's needed there's a bit of form and he comes good after a little bit of a break. I think he probably finds himself out of the team, and where he goes from that mentally is a challenge for him, because he has had a rough ride. He is still one of our best players. No, there's no question. I just think he has been non-stop, the best part of a couple of years now, and if England aren't going to play him, I've been all along, protection of mental health. It's not the ECB's fault. He's in the IPL. He has to go for that. You have to look after from a financial point of view, because obviously the ramifications of pulling out. It really, really is a difficult one. I think that if somebody said to me Ben Duckett's going home because he's got an injury and he's going to miss the World Cup, with a view that he might not play for England, and he goes home, I wouldn't be surprised. 2, I think it would be quite a good option from a human perspective. But while he's here, you're only especially in the short format, you're only a couple of balls away from getting back into a little bit of rhythm. You're an innings away from getting back into a bit of touch and a bit of form. And he is a quality player. So I think it is a difficult one, how they manage the Ben Duckett situation. But clearly at this moment in time, the boy's having a struggle. And if he's starting to have a struggle mentally, I think England might have to do him a favour and look after him that way.
You talked about the balance throughout the series. They've gone with one sort of out-and-out seam power play bowler, whether it's Jofra or Luke Woods. Do you sacrifice an Overton for both? And then if it's a seamer wicket, you sacrifice like a Jacks and play 3 seamers?
No, I think Jacks is in the team. I think Jacks is comfortably in the team. Curran's comfortably in the team. I personally would have Luke Wood and Jofra Archer in the team, and I would sacrifice having I know England want that big hitter at the bottom order, but I think when you're all said and done, I mean, number 8, yeah, people will say you needed your lower order to perform with a bat in this game. But I think the balance of that side, the power play overs, bowling towards the end, I still think I'd like another seamer up my sleeve, especially the left arm option, because if you get on an absolute flat one shirt front, the spin bowling is just coming on nicely. I think I'd want banking overs rather than part-time overs, because all of a sudden if they're going all out the park, no matter who you've got at number 8, I don't think it makes a great deal of difference. So I personally would go balance to the side. I would go with Luke Wood, Jofra Archer. We've seen what Liam Dawson can do. He can obviously hold a bat. And then Jofra Archer would be number 9 and Liam Dawson would be number 8.
Looking ahead to the T20 World Cup, simple question. If Brendon McCullum doesn't win it, does he lose his job, or does he have to win the T20 World Cup to keep his job?
It's such a difficult one. The problem I've got is somebody's got to be accountable, and the problem that I see with this group is there's been no real accountability. I think I've said I didn't want to answer that properly until after the World Cup, because I wanted them all to sit down and see what changes that could be made to make this unit better. And I think that would be, I think there needs to be a level of accountability. I think the preparation for the Ashes was well off. I made a couple of comments, some might say stupid comments, in between like first and second test match and stuff like that. I think the way I look at it is, if you've got the preparation wrong, and I know when people say, every 4 years, if you're just going to sack the coach, you're going nowhere. I still think this is group, the majority of this group can do well in the Ashes in 2027. It's, can Brendon McCullum change the way he thinks and the way he's gone about what he's done in the last 18 months? Because I think over 3.5 years, 3 and a bit more years, Brendon McCullum has been a huge success as England coach. But unfortunately, accountability, big series, preparation for the Ashes, managing the environment, setting the plans, making sure every stone is sorted and left unturned. The off-field stuff has happened. That's not a good thing. You make 16-man squad with no opening batter, no spare opener, no spare wicketkeeper, no spare spin bowler. I think that was highlighted as a problem. England have got 3 players in the top 6 averaging 35 or less. Australia have the same, but England have got that. They lost 4-1, and somebody has to carry the can. And unfortunately, at the minute, I'm more McCullum probably loses it than he keeps it. But if there is a change, the simple, the criticisms we've seen them brought Troy Cooley in. I mean, I didn't have
Hopkinson back.
Hopkinson's come back in. These little things, little drip feeds could help, and if they do help, then I think he can survive. I actually think I see a world where Brendon McCullum can survive, but unfortunately, it went so wrong. Somebody's got to carry the can, and that, because it's gone wrong off the field, as well as it's gone wrong on the field, and the preparation planning and everything that goes with it, I'm not so sure. There's somebody that somebody carrying the can is anybody other than the coach, because, I mean, like I said before, you've seen that makeup of that 16-man squad. Archer and Wood were never going to play more than 4 games between them. That was evident. That was evident. You're always potentially going to have problem at 1, 2, or 3 if the Pope conversation was he went into the series under pressure. Crawley went into the series under pressure. Just having Bethel as a backup batter, you didn't have another one. It seems that's easier to get out. It's harder to get out this side than it is to get in it. Not having a spare spin bowler, having 5, 6 seam bowlers of 90 mile an hour is great, but if they can't bowl together and they can't bowl in tandem and they can't build pressure and they can't bowl as a unit, I mean, the individualistic look of that bowling attack, all these things England got wrong. Somebody has to be accountable, and because I keep saying that, I think McCullum can survive, but there's got to be a lot of change in middle management to help that, to make sure that we learn from it going into the next Ashes cycle, which is one at home, then another one away. Do I see a day where Brendon McCullum survives as England coach? I do, because I think he's been positive. But do I see a day where at the end of the Ashes he gets a tap on the shoulder and gets relieved of his post? I can probably see that day as well.
Is it all or nothing for Brendon? Because he would argue he's done what a lot of teams haven't done in Sri Lanka, which is win an ODI series, win a T20 series. England have won 10 of their last 11 T20s. So the white ball side, the ODI side's turning a corner, the T20 side's where it's at. But is it no job or all jobs? Do you know what I mean? Can he lose the test job and keep the white ball job?
I think it'll be hard. If I was Brendon, it's either you want me for the lot or you don't.
Yeah.
You want me to have my coaching staff or you don't.
Yeah.
You want my opinion or you don't. This is what managers do. This is what coaches do. So the only thing I'll say is there a little bit of does he understand what went wrong and how it went wrong, and has he got a plan to fix it? And if that plan to fix it is one where these bosses think, you know what, yeah, I think the first 2.5 years we've identified areas where we might have let things slip in the last 18 months. And if we can put them right and go back to the cycle of what we had for the 2 years previous to that, then I can see a day where he keeps his job and keeps it in all formats. I think he's either all or nothing. He's either all in or he's not. The fact that they've won here, which is great, even if they win the World Cup, I think at this moment in time it's more what's been happening in the environment is what's putting them under pressure. Performance, yes, but I think there's other things outside of it, on the outskirts of it, which I think puts them under a little bit of pressure. You know, the planning, the preparation, and the way England went about going into the Ashes, as well as some of the off-field stuff. He's the coach, he sets the environment, he polices the environment, and unfortunately, that's been below the standard I think you need to have as an England cricket team around the world.
Man has joked on following on this week that he needed Vaseline to squeeze the schedule for the 100, but Sunday England start the T20 World Cup. That's just how it is, Harmy.
It is, and it's only going to get worse. I think it's only going to get worse in England unless they reduce some of the cricket that's been played. It's only going to get worse around the world with franchise tournaments being so lucrative now for players, which I don't blame them for going one little bit. It's about managing, and sometimes the management of the player might have to take a little bit of a step back and say, my mental health is more important than this check in the pocket. It's easy to say that, but all of a sudden I look at Ben Duckett now, the time he's had since the end of English summer, for him to be still going between now and a short period at home till the end of May, going straight into an English summer, I'm more worried about the lad personally than I am anything that he is on the field. I'm somebody that suffered, so I know what it's like to go through difficult times. I really hope and pray that Ben Duckett mentally is all right. I really couldn't care about his performance at this minute in time. I just hope that, you know, the troubling times he's had, getting married just before he came away, yes, a young family and everything like that, but he's going to spend an awful lot away from home, and when the pressure's on and you're not scoring runs, it soon mounts up. So I really do hope they look after him.
14 and out for us in terms of daily podcasts. Thanks for everyone who have tuned in during our time in Sri Lanka. We've seen 2 series wins for England, 5 victories out of 6. Harmy, you enjoyed it?
It's been brilliant. It's been a fantastic trip. It's been hard work. It's had its challenges. It had its real challenges. Today was a big one. I got to the ground literally 5 minutes before we went on air because I had to go and get the attire because I forgot it. Well, I didn't forget it. I just did get told to bring it. Sri Lanka is a wonderful country. It really is. And now, you know, travelling the world and opening up again after the sort of pandemic, this is definitely a place where I would recommend anybody to come, a holiday destination or to watch the cricket, because Colombo looked after us brilliantly, and the bigger city, in the smaller town area, in the rural area of Kandy, they've looked after us well. So it's been a fantastic trip. And yourself.
And your day has sort of summed up the trip. A bit of challenges and an England win. So there we go. Thanks for watching. As I say, following on daily from Sri Lanka. We'll be back for the weekly show on Monday, and of course throughout the T20 World Cup whenever England play. But for now, a big thank you to everyone who has watched Following On Daily.